Story. And this story I want to tell you is this story is about three women, and these women were kind of like what you would call homely women, and they were the best of friends. And one day they were driving along, and they were driving through this intersection. And when they were driving through the intersection, there was this big diesel. It came and just T-boned. The women died instantly. So they went to heaven, and they're up, and there was St. Peter was there at these big pearly gates. And they were getting ready to go inside, and Peter said, wait a second, hold it. I don't want you to go in here just yet. It's just not time yet. But I want you to come over in this area over here. The women thought, okay, yeah, we'll do that. So they started walking over to this area, and then all of a sudden Peter said, wait a minute, but there's one thing. There's one thing that you cannot do. And they said, okay. When you get there, you can't step on any of my ducks. Okay, all right, I won't step on any of the ducks. So they go into this area, and it was the most beautiful thing they'd ever seen. The sky was the bluest of blue, the grass was the greenest of green. I mean, they were admiring the scene, and all of a sudden, one of the women, they stepped on a duck. Quack. Her arm began to shake, and they thought, whoa, what is going on with her arm? Her arm began to shake, and all of a sudden, poof, attached to her, on her arm, was the ugliest man she'd ever seen. So now they knew why, okay, they're not supposed to step on the ducks. So these other two women, they were going along and admiring the scene, and one woman wasn't looking where she was walking, and she stepped on one of the ducks. Quack. So her arm began to shake, and she thought, oh no, I cannot believe this. All of a sudden, poof, attached to her was the ugliest man she'd ever seen. So the third woman thought, no way, no how am I going to ever step on a duck? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So it seemed like time had gone by, and she was skipping along, admiring the scene, and there was this bush, and she goes to hop over the bush. Little did she know there was a duck on the other side. So she lands on the duck. Quack. Her arm began to shake, and she thinks, oh no, I can't believe it, I stepped on the duck. Oh, and she's covering up her eyes, and all of a sudden, poof. And she looks between her fingers, and she, oh my gosh, I got the most beautiful man I've ever seen. I can't believe it, I cannot believe this. My other friends, they got an ugly man, I got a beautiful man. I can't, and she's looking at the guy, I can't believe, what happened? And the guy looks at her and he goes, I don't know, but I stepped on a duck.
That was good.
Anyway, you know what? 30 years of freedom. 30 years of freedom. That's a long time. You know, one of my favorite verses in the Bible is Jeremiah 29:11. It says, you know, for I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says the Lord, thoughts of good and not evil, to give you a hope and a future. You know, some translation says to give you a future and a hope. Some says to give you an expected end. You know, but all in all, what it's saying is God knows what's best for you. He knows what's best for you. You know, a little bit of my testimony, like Joe kind of said that, you know, I was baptized at 9 years of age, and at 15 years old, I was considered a world-class sprinter. 18 years of age, I set the world record in high school. And when I was off to college, I chose Oklahoma State University because it was close to home. And my parents had sit me down, and my mom, she told me two things. She said, son, I want you to pray every day and thank God for your talent. Because you didn't inherit your talent from your dad and myself. God gave you that talent. So I want you to thank God every day. And then she said, you know what? God will never leave you or forsake you. She says, I want you to remember that. And you know, me being a shy kid, I was a very shy kid. If you would have told me that I would be doing this later on in life, I said, no way. It's not going to happen. Because it was hard enough for me to talk to one person. But anyway, I went off to school, and I was a good kid. Now, you weren't going to see me, you know, doing all those bad things, reading about me in the newspapers or anything like that, because I didn't want to embarrass myself, and I didn't want to embarrass my family. But I was a good kid to this day. To this day, I've only said one curse word my whole life. And I had my first drink just about a couple of months ago. You know, the doctor says, you know, when you get up in age, you know, drink some wine, it's good for your heart. No. Didn't like it. So anyway, that was my first drink and my last one. Amen. But anyway, but you know what? There's not very much difference. You know, I can say that I was good, but there's not very much difference between the word good and God. But oh, what a difference! Oh, what a difference! See, I went off to college, and I wasn't expected to go to the NFL or anything like that. But someone said, you know what? You can make it to the next level. And I'm just going to jump ahead here because I don't have much time. I'm going to set the scene. I made it to the NFL. I made it to the big leagues. And there was this one particular game. And I was running the ball. And I was like in the zone. It felt like I couldn't be stopped, couldn't be tackled. I had 100 yards in the first half. The second half comes around and it was the same thing. The line was blocking awesome. And all of a sudden, you know, the hole just opens up and I said, gosh, 65-yard touchdown. I'm going to take this thing to the house. And then there was this little bitty defensive back comes in the picture and I'm like, man, how dare you stop me from my destination? I'm just going to run over this guy. And I was one of those running backs that I could run through you or around you, you know, just pick your choice. But I was just going to run smooth over this guy. And how many know that, you know, pride goes before the fall? So I had this big collision on the football field, and I broke my neck, and I was paralyzed instantly. I was paralyzed from the neck down. That ended my career. And doctor said that, you know, you're never going to walk again. You're never going to play with your sons again. You know, at that time, two of my sons were young at that time, and you know, can you imagine, you know, not being able to play ball with them again, and not being able to wipe the tears from your wife's eyes or anything like that? Can you imagine that? And I remember something after there was a few months went by. You know, we had surgery, and a few months went by, and one of the things that I remember that my mom said, she said, son, remember God will never leave you or forsake you. And one thing that I didn't do when I was a kid, you know, I was a good kid. I read my Bible every day. I did all those things. I never asked Jesus Christ into my heart. I never did that. So laying there paralyzed from the neck down, I said, Lord, I know I don't deserve this, but if I could use this in any way to help someone, help me. Help me. Come into my life. I think I was 25, 26 years old at that time. And then I started doing something that the doctor said I'll never do. And let me tell you something. God will always answer your prayers. Not in your time, but in his time. But at that time, God answered mine instantly. And I remember laying there and it felt like a million pins and needles stick in my body as my nerves were starting to come back. And I started moving my fingers. And when the doctors came down to look at me that day, I was doing something they said I'd never do again. I was standing at the side of my bed. Their mouths almost dropped. But, you know, God not only healed my body that day, but he restored my life. He restored me. You know, I may not have been in the NFL anymore or the CFL, but I was in the JFL. Jesus Forever League. But, you know, one of the things that when Joel called me up and asked me to do this, and I didn't know that much about Teen Challenge. I didn't really know anything. And so when I go and I take on a speaking engagement, I go into my studying, and I was amazed. I was amazed at how much and how long it's been around that I hadn't heard. So, I mean, I jumped on board, right there, all the testimonies that I saw on the website. I mean, it was totally awesome. And I said, you know what, I'm in this. And one of the things that I remember is we were just talking about prayer and hope, freedom, and change. That was totally awesome. And even I started even telling other people because I was excited about what Team Challenge did. And I know one of the things that I liked about it is the percentage. 86%. I saw that. I saw that on the brochure there. 86%. That is, I mean, you look at another program that has a success rate like that. It's not anything like this. So I thought that was incredible. But one of the things that I want to say to the young people is I want to tell you to stay focused. Stay focused. I like the things that I tell young people when I speak to them is remember that whatever has your focus has your attention. And whatever has your attention has your direction. Whatever has your focus has your attention. And whatever has your attention has your direction. You know, my life, I know what had my focus. You know, I knew that I had God in my life. And I learned that at a young age. But I know that I'm not perfect. I know that I'm not perfect. It took me a long time to experience Jeremiah 29:11. It took me a while to experience that, to know what God had in store for my life. But I want to challenge each and every one of you guys to tap into what God wants in your life. The challenge, because the challenges are going to be there. They will be there. You know, there was this guy who, this old man was walking along the seashore, and the waves come in, and all of a sudden, when the water receded, there were starfish all over the shore. And what this man did is he would go by and he would pick up the starfish and toss it back into the water. He would pick it up, toss it back in the water. And there was this young man that was watching him and he was thinking, what in the world is he doing? He's picking up starfish. It seems like he would just take one step, pick up the starfish. And there were it seems like hundreds of them all along the shore. And so the young man walks up and goes, what are you doing? The old man didn't say anything. He was just kept picking up starfish and throwing them back in the water. The young man walked up and he said, you know what? You're not going to save all of these. So why are you doing it? The old man looked at him and he says, well, save that one. I saved that one. I saved that one. You see, Teen Challenge may not get them all, but they may get the one. They may get the one. That one that's going to bring thousands to Christ. They may get that one. And this is right here is what I believe is you know, we're talking about, it also said talking about unchained. And unchained is being released, being free. But also a chain is connected to an anchor. And I would tell you the anchor in my life was Jesus Christ. The anchor holds. And I would tell you, it's still holding. And some of you young people, you want that to hold you for the rest of your life.
Through the long dark night, sails are torn, I have fallen on my knees as I face the raging seas. The anchor holds,
yes, always.
in spite of the storm. I've had visions, I've had dreams, I've even held them in my hand. But I never knew they would slip right through, like they were only grains of sand.
Yeah, that's right.
The anchor holds, though the ship is battered. The anchor holds, though the sails are torn. I have fallen on my knees as I face the raging seas. The anchor holds,
Yes, amen.
in spite of the storm. I have been young, and I am older now, and there has been beauty in these eyes of the sea. But it was in the night, through the storms of my life. Oh, that's where God
Yes,
proved His love
yes, amen.
to me. The anchor holds, though the ship's been battered. The anchor holds, though the sails are torn. I have fallen on my knees as I face the raging seas. The anchor holds, in spite of the storm. I have fallen on my knees as I face the raging seas. The anchor holds, in spite of the storm.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Go ahead.
There was this young man. And his dad, they went out on a picnic. And the mom packed him a picnic lunch. And it was a beautiful day. It was very, very beautiful. It was one of those days that you could let the window down in the car and get the cool breeze, or you could turn on the AC. It's one of those days. And they had a nice lunch. It seemed like it was about an hour. And it was time to leave, so they packed up everything. And they began to roll up the windows in the car. And when they were rolling up the windows, all of a sudden, this bee started flying around. And the little boy was like, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy, there's a bee flying around, there's a bee flying around." And the dad is looking in the back and he's trying to find the bee as he's driving, and he starts to pull over. And the young man is like, "Daddy, please get the bee, please get the bee." See, that bee represents some terrible things in our lives. And those things are going to be tough and they're going to be hard. Like these guys have shown in their testimonies. They went through some hard times. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough sometimes. But you've got the number one cheerleader on your side. Life's going to be tough. You're going to go through a lot of things. "Daddy, Daddy, look at that bee." The dad reaches back and he traps the bee on the roof of the car. It's tough. But as he traps that bee on the roof of the car, and then he pulls it away, you're going to go through some stuff. You're going to think that you're all alone. All of a sudden that bee started flying around again. The bee started flying around again. "Daddy, Daddy, you didn't get it. It's still flying. Please, Daddy, help me." Sometimes you're going to yell out to him. You're going to yell out to him. The struggle is real. It's real. It's going to be real in your life. You can ask each one of those young people. That struggle was real. "Daddy, please get it. It's still flying around." Dad said, "Son, but it's okay. It's okay." "But Daddy, no, it's not. It's still flying. It's going to get me." He said, "No, son, it's okay." And he opens his hand, and there was a stinger. You see, Jesus Christ has already taken the sting for you.
Yes, he has. That's right.
He's already
Yes, he
taken
has.
it for you. So we got to trust him. Trust him in what he can do for us, what he can do with us. Even though you struggle, God is still behind you, and the anchor is still holding. Remember that. The anchor is still holding.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Amen.